You dupe me, Lord, and I let myself be duped. So how do I become a deacon, and how do I allow myself to be duped? It was the affirmation of the church. You are the church. It was with your help. Your examples, your outreach, your prayers, your love. It was by you being an example to me that made me follow the call from God. Being a disciple of the Lord requires us to interact with strangers, people who are different than us. We are removed from our comfort zone when we encounter the poor, the sick, and the homeless. We are all born to serve Jesus Christ, and we are all called to be disciples in Christ. We are all called to be the teachers of the message of Jesus. So what does a disciple look like? When I read the Bible, or look at some stories, I think about some old men dressed in robes, with sandals, walking down a dusty road, teaching about Jesus, and more importantly, acting like Jesus. But that's a story of 2,000 years ago. My question today is, what does a disciple look in 2011? What does that disciple look like? The how I'm going to try to answer, and the why we are called is still a mystery to me. So the first disciples that I remember in my life were my family, my mother and my brothers and sisters. My mom taught me the prayers that I grew up with. She taught me the difference between good and evil. My brothers and sisters taught me patience, kindness, and forgiveness. But it wasn't my patience, my kindness, or forgiveness. It was theirs. They wore the face of Jesus. And together as a family, we learned about charity. Charity is another word for love. As you can see, the first disciples we encounter in our lives are our family. Jesus had entered this world as a newborn baby instead of coming in as an adult king. He started in a family, a holy family. Our families today are called to the same holiness. Moms and dads, brothers and sisters, never miss an opportunity to show God's love to one another. As a very young boy, my formal education began at St. John Gas School on the south side of Chicago. I was taught by the Felician Sisters. The Felician Sisters were extremely good teachers and phenomenal disciplinarians. Seriously. I learned to count to 12 on my second day of school. The numbers 1 through 6 were on this hand, 7 through 12 were on that hand. They looked like a ruler. So later on in my call, I was calling about the 5th grade to be a altar server. And it was a choice and a commitment to be an altar boy. And it's something I found that I really love to do. And at that point, I realized I was closer to the Lord once again. And I say, you dupe me, Lord. And I allowed myself to be duped. See, because at that point, I didn't understand it as a young boy, what a great privilege and what an honor it was to be an altar server. To be able to serve in the sanctuary, the altar, during the sacred liturgy of the Mass. Now today, to my left and to my right, you see these young people, these boys and girls wearing cassocks and surplices. These are young disciples of Christ who have answered the call to Jesus. These young men, these boys and girls are great examples to all of us, but especially to the young people here in our church. Father Michael and I just had a practice recently, and the parents that stayed to watch the practice were actually thought about how much work goes into being an altar server, what they have to do. And I think sometimes the congregation takes it for granted about what these young kids do. And they're very, very important to our liturgy. So to give them their due when you see them. And I have to tell you, I think they do a really great job. Later on in my life, my final formal education came at St. Rita's High School, and I was taught by the Augustinian Fathers. And the Augustinian Fathers taught me that the important things every day is to keep God number one in your life. And I continue to hold that into my heart. So teachers, whether you're a grammar school, a middle school teacher, a high school teacher, a coach, or an instructor, any kind of youth leader, you are disciples. So never take your discipleship lightly. Our youth are our most precious gift from God. So then the Lord took me again, and He sent me and my family to Yorkville. Now most of you know that Yorkville is one town over from Smallville. They may have Superman, but we have Father Matt and Father Michael. I don't know which one's less true. So my wife and I, we moved here and we didn't know a soul. So I have to tell you a little story. We were going to a restaurant one day, and it was after church on a Sunday, and we walk in, and there is a couple who invites us to sit down and have dinner with them. And the first person says to me, it's Charlie Rita jump, and Charlie reaches over to me, takes a real deep breath, and says, "Hi, I'm Charlie." And then Rita jumps in and says, "Hi, I'm Rita." And Rita told me about the priest, and she told me about the deacons, she told my wife about the parish, and she told us about the city of Yorkville and county. And then Charlie begins to exhale and says, "Glad to meet you." That random act of kindness by those two disciples of Christ got us involved in St. Patrick's. So if you like what you hear and see today, thank God. If you don't, like Rita and Charlie. So my call to being a deacon is louder now. I continue to meet new disciples here at St. Patrick. I joined the men's club, and I get to meet Deacon Don Sear, who at that point wasn't a deacon yet. And ironically, he was starting a new ministry called Christ Reduces Parish. And he's trying to explain this, and because we have never done it before at the parish, he had asked another deacon, Deacon Bob Wade, to come over and talk to us. Deacon Wade stood on the altar here and explained to us at the parish what Christ Reduces Parish was. And I think God was talking to me directly that day, because something different, something new happened to me, and I responded to that call to go to that retreat. So that's another disciple in another day. And see, now the Lord is really new to me now. So Deacon Dale and Deacon Don, I get to know him a little better. And Dale says to me, "You know, Jerry, you should think about being a deacon." And how do you answer something like that? And then I look at it and think about it, and he says, "Was that God talking to me dressed as Dale?" So when Don and Dave English got ordained, I was invited to Cathedral to witness this 9-year-old day with them. And when the ordination was over, I'm walking with my wife and Cindy Sear over to the Joyce Center for the reception. And then Cindy says to me, "So Jerry, when are you going to become a deacon?" And I don't remember answering her that. But Cindy, if you're here, the answer is August 27, 2011. I've met so many wonderful people here at St. Patrick's. The Knights of Columbus rallied around me when I called for them. We came up with 52 disciples. We now have over 100 Knights of Columbus. And let's not forget about our teens. You hear so much negativity about our youth today. You want to see positive? Meet our teens, meet their leaders, meet the people in Discovery, or those that went to Steubenville, or any of our other teen ministries. These are our current and our future disciples. The St. Vincent de Paul, that was my diaconate project for this parish. I asked for help and the parish responded. Not only with great volunteers, but with their hard-earned cash. The St. Vincent de Paul has helped 32 families so far. We've given out over $15,000. We not only assist financially, but we bring hope to these people who are less privileged than we are. So thank you for answering the call. And as I look back now, I realize that God has been calling me to a vocation all my life. It's not like I got up in the morning one day and signed up for the God team. But over time, I couldn't ignore the burden in my heart. It's truly a mystery to me how God does what He does. God has a plan for us. We just need to listen. And if we listen, we can hear God's calling. So now that we know what a disciple looks like, Maybe you can identify by being one of them. We have so many ministries here at St. Patrick. Ladies, consider the Ladies Club or the newly formed Women's Auxiliary. Gentlemen, St. Patrick's is in the process of starting a new men's ministry. It's called That Man Is You. We're going to start this up on September 10th. They said they're going to promise to feed us a big breakfast. And if you want any more information, you can get that in the narthex after Mass today. So, gentlemen, are being called to be a teacher? Are you being called to be a disciple? If God had told me all these events would have unfolded the way they have, I would have said, take a hike. That's too hard. That's too much commitment. But Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me. Saying yes for the very first time wasn't easy. It's actually much harder than I thought. But when you do answer yes, you are changed forever. And that's only the beginning. Like Jeremiah said in today's reading. But then it becomes like a fire burning in my heart, imprisoned in my bones. I grow weary holding it in. I cannot endure it. And that's how God took me. Now I understand there was a pool that they put together. They're going to see if I stood behind the ammo the entire time, or if I would come out here and talk. So in order to keep it even, it's a 50-50 now, everybody wins. I want to come out here and say thank you to my wife. She was duped not once but twice. She was duped 25 years ago when she married me. She was also duped by God when she allowed me to say yes to the call to become a deacon. So God bless her.